Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. Terry and Tess are back from the Oxford Ball, and a little incident there in the previous episode. And now we're at part 81. I will say that Dee is a character that we introduced earlier. Dee is Sebastian's assistant, and she is a deaf mute, so she speaks awkwardly, but she runs the ship. So between them, Gracie and Dee ran a tight ship. I'd started getting some good pocket money, always paid in a timely fashion, from publication fees for my pictures. It made all the difference to my date night options with Tess. We dined out every few weeks. We went to the cinema, as the movies were called in England. It was there that I encountered yet another example of England's class distinctions. In America, you bought your movie ticket and sat where you liked. In England, seats closest to the screen were the cheap ones. The supposedly best seats, the pricey ones, were at the back, reversed from live theater, but the sections concept held over to maintain the station separation. Very English. Either way, it worked out for me. I always liked watching a movie from the third row. Sebastian's name came up in most of Tess and my conversations. It came up again over dinner one night at a restaurant he'd recommended. "It's all business," I said, rather naively. This after she voiced her usual concerns, wondering what Sebastian's motives might be socializing so intrepidly, to say nothing of bringing both Finn, Gracie, and me so tightly into the fold. "We're just having fun," I said. "Well, of course you're having fun." "So what's the problem?" I asked. "I don't know, Terry, but when it's too good to be true, maybe it is." "Well, it's working out fine for Gracie." "Gracie?" she said, throwing up her hands. I hardly see her anymore. She's become another person, like she's been, I don't know, abducted." "Well, why do you have a problem with that?" "With abduction?" Tess asked. "No," I laughed, "with change." I could see her struggling. She really wanted to be an actress, and suddenly she's left that all behind. This is Tess about Gracie. "She's 22, I protested. "It's the perfect time to be changing her mind." "But she wanted it so badly, being an actress." "Tess, I wanted something badly too, remember? And then life hits you in the face and things just change." She nodded, still not settled. But all that work, so much action required, her dreams to be an actress. "And now she has different dreams," I said. "I actually think what she's doing now is a perfect fit." It seemed hard to dispute, and I felt that tidily ended things, but Tess hadn't finished. "Well, what about you, Terry?" "Me? What do your actions say? Have you changed your mind too?" "About what?" "I'm a failed student, Tess. Harrods is not my life. My visa's running out. When I'm back in LA, I want to get serious about becoming a photographer." Tess went silent. It was the first time I'd addressed directly that I had a visa which would expire, and more to the point, I wasn't going to renew it. But I knew it wasn't only about that. "I never lied to you, Tess." "You lie by omission, Terry. You always have." Her words, though spoken quietly, drowned out the trendy restaurant's buzz. She was right. I'd kidded myself into thinking we had a tacit agreement. I wouldn't talk about my after hours, and she politely wouldn't ask. The truth was that Tess had no references to imagine the places I went or the things that I did, least of all her boyfriend being raped. It was literally unimaginable. As long as I showed up, everything was normal. "You're the only one, Tess." I like to think that, but her eyes filled with tears. I took her hand. "It's true. There's no one else. My life is so full with you and with us." "Well, what about Sebastian? I can understand being I mean, he's quite good looking. I laughed out loud at her understatement. For the last time, Tess, we're not having an affair. For sure, he's not after me. He's after the world, Terry, and everyone's lining up to give it to him. And she was right about that. I keep a professional distance. I don't want details, Terry. I just want to know your... She stopped. What could she ask? That I'd be faithful? At least I wasn't seeing other women. But little trysts with men, that was play, letting off steam, a guy thing, apples and oranges. But fidelity? I couldn't promise that. I actually think he's asexual, I said about Sebastian. Oh, you mean like all and nothing? Very funny, I said, taking a moment to consider my next words, which I hoped would clear the air once and for all. I'm his assistant, Tess. Yes, we work as a team, but there's no more to it. Can you live with that? Do I have a choice? I sighed helplessly. Tess, I'm just going with the flow. Going where? That's what worries me. Stop worrying, I said. I know what I'm doing. Famous last words. Okay. I'm going to stop there, and it's kind of a funny place to stop. And we'll continue with part 82 tomorrow. Thank you very much for following along.